Hello and welcome back to Writerlywitterings, and you'll see here that I'm just showing a little bit of gratitude to the number of people who are supporting me on Patreon. It seemed like it was about time I did actually say thank you to them, so I think that I might take a leaf out of other Patreon folks' books and put their names up at the beginning of videos. You never know, might make them feel good, and why not? So, thanks to my Patreon supporters. Apologies for last week and the complete lack of a video. I was just snowed under with work. I still am actually, but my editor has been enormously kind and allowed me an additional few days of grace before I have to send in the latest book, which is nice because it means I'm not sending it off in a hurry and in a rush. I've got time to read through it again and just make sure that all of the I's are dotted and the T's crossed. Now, what are we doing today? Well, I have a really rather interesting box here. I'll just retrieve it from the dog. Look at this. It's another Conway Stewart pen, and this one is the latest Churchill version. And it's not only a delightful pen, there's some other really rather fascinating things in this box. So let's go and have a look at it. So here we have a fascinating box. It says, "I have always earned my living by my pen." So Winston Churchill, 1874, 1965, the Right Honourable Winston S. Churchill MP. I still remember the day when he was taken on the Thames, and all of the, and there were a lot of them in those days, went up past the docks, and a huge number of cranes, all by the docks, all just lowered their arms in honour of Churchill as he went past. So what do you get in this box? Well, I'm going to take these two aside because they will be revealed shortly. First of all, there's a nice little book. Little quotations from Winston Churchill are nice to have. There's the standard things, so a user guide to your pen. There's a little bit about the heritage Conway Stewart pen range, which includes this, Never Give In, the Pug, and various others. That's nice. There's a facsimile of a letter that Churchill wrote, which is also rather nice. I'll put them away there. You get a nice little bottle of Conway Stewart ink, always a good thing to receive, and a little packet of Conway Stewart ink cartridges, and a pen polishing cloth. And I must admit, these things are really handy. I've used them a few times on my own pens. I put this box back upside down, but this is the Victory at All Costs pen. It comes with a certificate to show that it's genuine. This is number 10 out of 100 only that they'll make. And there's a note, which is a thank you note from Conway Stewart for buying one of their products, which I think is rather nice. It shows they're thinking of you, which is good. Now let's just get this pen out if I can. It comes in one of the standard Conway Stewart leatherette boxes, and here we are. So pull the tab and take the lid off. These boxes always have the Conway Stewart logo and say Conway Stewart, and likewise on the sides. Pull the tab, which is normally a bit of an effort because they are quite close fitting, these pen boxes from Conway Stewart. There we go. And if you take it out and turn it upside down, it becomes a little display stand, which is another little bit of nice design, I think. So let's look at this pen. It is the Victory at All Costs pen. And just to make it nice and easy, it says Victory at All Costs, Winston Churchill, made in Great Britain, which is nice. Now, I'm not sure if you can see the colour of this pen. It's a sort of a dark blue, which suits the design very nicely. I'm a fan of black and dark colours for this type of old-fashioned style of pen, I'd say. It's a Churchill, so you've got the standard cap with the engravings in it, the rings that are engraved in. It has a standard Churchill type of clip, which is nice, and it has externally 3 gold bands, and they're genuine gold. I don't know if this will show up on the camera, but here there are the assay marks to prove it is genuine gold. Dark black material at the top of the cap and at the back end of the pen. So unscrew it, and the section itself is black. I do apologise, the dog is biting her nails again. My apologies. Right, so back to the pen. The section is black, has a slight taper and then a flare so your fingers don't slide straight off, which is a nice idea. The main bulk of the pen is this dark blue acrylic again with 2 gold bands. The nib, I think, is rather lovely. You can see it's 2-tone, so it's a gold nib that's had some sort of silvery coating put on the outside. The dog's doing it again. Then it says down here 18 carat 750, and under that M for medium, and there is a flag on the front of the nib here. Now, these pens, you've seen me review them before. They're rather magnificently built. They come with cartridge converter, or you can use the cartridges as I demonstrated. They come with a box of cartridges as well as the ink. And they are superb writers. Now I'm going to demonstrate this pen. I'm probably going to knock my camera over now, so I'll apologise if that happens. Nope, I'm not going to. There we go. I've got some Conway Stewart Onyx black ink here. So I'm now going to fill this pen and we'll have a quick look at how it works. So here we are with some good quality paper. I've just filled this with Onyx black ink. You can always tell when I've just filled a pen because I always get ink on me, but that's just the way I am. So what is this? The one thing I do have to say is that the Conway Stewart nibs are fantastic. They really do float across the page. You can hear possibly a slight Can you hear that? There's a slight sound as it goes across the paper, just a little bit of feedback, but that's exactly how I like my pens. Feedback is good. Now this is a brand new nib on a brand new pen, so it starts off fairly thin when you start writing, but it is one of those pens that just wants to be used. Nice bit of line variation. And now I'm going to show you these other things that arrived at the same time as this pen, because they're fascinating, and they are these, which I've also filled with ink. Both of these are stub nibs. Rather than the rounded nib that we've got on the medium there, if I show you here, you can see perhaps that the left-hand one here is fairly broad and the one on the right is a little bit broader. And if you've got good eyesight, you'll see they both have the Conway Stewart logo, and then they say Conway Stewart, and then this on the left says 1.1 and this on the right says 1.5. Hopefully the camera's picking them up. And this is a 1.1mm stub and this is a 1.5mm stub. Both of them, I believe, are steel nibs but coloured gold. However, I don't really care. The most important thing is, how are they going to write? I haven't tried either of these before. I've literally only just filled them for the purposes of this video. So let's just see. Oh wow. Now, the lovely thing is that with a stub nib, you get very good line variation, as you can see here. But gotcha. How does a stub nib work? Well, usually when you look at a nib, it'll look like that with an air hole at the bottom, and there'll be a sort of a rounded bit at the top of the nib where it actually touches the paper. A stub nib is much more of a square top, and that means when you look at it from the side, an ordinary nib usually looks rather like that. So this is the bottom which touches the paper's surface. A stub nib is much more like that. So it's got a slightly rounded end to the nib where it touches the paper, and that's why you get this incredible variation from going horizontally to going vertically. It makes a huge difference. That is the 1.1. Let's have a look at the, whoops, put the wrong bit down. Let's have a look at the 1.5. Oh, wow. The ink's flowing properly now. Oops. Now the thing with this nib is definitely that it is so big that if I'm writing normally like this, the ink flow isn't necessarily catching up with the way I'm writing. Now these are designed for calligraphy. They're not really designed for everyday writing use, I think, but I have to admit this is rather spectacular. So you get really fine lines horizontally, and then when you go for the downstroke, it's 1.5 millimeters fat. And it's clearly putting down a huge amount of ink. I must admit that is really quite a spectacular nib to use and great fun to play with. So there you've got it. There is this gorgeous pen which really is, I think, a beautiful colour. I love that dark blue, very deep blue, not navy, it's a little bit lighter in tone than navy. Don't really know what sort of colour, I'd say it's a very dark sapphire type of colour, but really appealing. I love the writing on it, victory at all costs, and of course now while I'm talking the dustbin men are going to arrive. These two, I've no idea what price they're going to go for. I'm going to be interested to see that. I'll be trying to find out, and if I can I'll put a note at the bottom. But these two are really interesting calligraphy style nibs. I don't think you can really have too many complaints about the way that they work. As I said at the outset, it didn't seem to like my William Hanna paper quite so much. But that could be less the paper, it could just be because the nibs are brand new, there's still a bit of engine grease and so on in the nib, and that can block things up and make it a bit difficult. I tend to find that I've got to write about a page of A4 with a brand new nib, if it has got any sort of guck inside it. I know other people do recommend that you flush them through a little with a very, very, very weak solution of fairy liquid or detergent. Personally, I don't. I think you're probably better off just running it through with ink and waiting till the ink gets all of the grease out of the way. But that's a personal thing, it's just the way I am. So thanks a lot for watching, hope that was interesting. If you're interested, there's a link at the bottom, an email, so you can write to me for the Pen Pals Club, which includes people from all over the world. You don't have to be from the UK. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can go and join the Patreon group, all those people you saw at the beginning, and you can do anything you want, really. If you want to really help, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button if you want to be notified when new videos are coming out, and run down the street naked screaming how good writerly witterings are if you really want to promote me, and probably get arrested. Possibly not that last. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to go back to a cup of Earl Grey No. 4 from Twinings. Excellent tea. And I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.